Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Krystle, just in case you're new here, and today I have my mid-year book freakout tag. Now, is it book freakout tag? Whatever. I do this every year. I try to keep track of it every year. It's not my most watched video, but I feel like I do it for myself. This way I can kind of track my reading for the year and just to let you guys know what I've been reading, because I haven't been doing TBRs. I really haven't been doing wrap-ups. I just have been just kind of reading and just enjoying myself and not feeling the need to have to sit down and film constantly. But without further ado, let's get into the mid-year book freak out tag. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and for me that was Lisey's Story by Stephen King. No shock there, I am a huge Stephen King fan, if you couldn't tell, if you didn't know, but this book blew me away. I did not realize I was going to love it as much as I did, and it is now a new favorite Stephen King book. It's high up there, my top 5. I absolutely loved it. It was so visceral. It was almost like a fever dream the entire time, along with our main character, Lisey, dealing with the grief of losing her husband, who was a writer, and also dealing with some other family issues that she has going on. And her husband went through hell and back when he was a young kid, and she found all this paperwork about him, and he would leave her notes and a story about his life and what he went through, and she kind of went through the motions with him by reading that, but also it transported her to another world called Booya Moon, and boy, was that, it was just so cool. The way he wrote it, it did something to my brain where I felt like I was there with her. I just loved that book so much. So definitely check out Lisey's Story if you have not already. And also the TV show is out on Apple TV as well if you're interested in watching that. But I definitely think you should read the book first before you watch the TV show, because that's how we do things in the book world, right? The second question is best sequel you've read so far this year, and that is The Wastelands by Stephen King, because that book blew me away as well. I did not think I would enjoy the Dark Tower series as much as I am enjoying it now, and I'm so glad that I decided to pick it up this year. It is just a weird fantasy kind of horror world that Stephen King built, and it's one of his most well-known pieces of work, but it's just so different than anything that I really know, because I've only really read his horror books. So definitely check out the Dark Tower series if you haven't already. I mean, I don't know what you've been doing if you've never heard of the Dark Tower series, but I highly recommend the series. The first 2 books are a little slow, but once you get to the 3rd one, things really start happening, and you just can't believe half the things that are happening are happening. It's just that weird, that strange, but also really good. The third question is a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to, and for me that is The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig, and then also The Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix, who I love so much. Those 2 books are really high up on my TBR. I am so excited for them, and I'm probably going to just drop all my reading plans to pick those up when they do come out this summer, because they're coming out very soon in the next couple weeks. The fourth question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and for me that would be Nothing But Black and Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. This book sounds amazing. It sounds like the perfect ghost story. It also has folklore inspired events that take place, so which I love so much, because I love anything about folklore. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you do know that I am a practicing witch, so folklore is really inspired in my craft, and I just love reading about all different types of folklore from all around the world, from different cultures and things like that. I believe Nothing But Black and Teeth is inspired by Japanese folklore. I could be wrong on that. The Japanese are really famous for their horror folklore. They do believe in a lot of the supernatural, which if you've watched The Grudge or The Ring or things like that, that's kind of where those stories have come from. So I'm really excited to read something from that part of the world as well. I'm really excited for Slewfoot by Brom. I love anything that has to do with like historical witchcraft and things like that. So this is inspired by the Puritan era with witches. And Brom, I believe, is the author of Krampus as well. So this is also like a folklore inspired type of story, and anything about witches I just love. So, and we need more witch books out there, guys. There's like no witch books out there anymore, and we need more. I'm trying to write one myself, but it's a little slow paced right now in the writing department. I've been a little bit too busy, but we need some more witch books out there, guys. The fifth question is biggest disappointment of the year, and I am so sad and sorry to say this before its release day, but My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones was a huge disappointment for me. It was not a bad book, guys, and I really enjoyed so much of the horror references in there, but there are spoilers for the horror genre, so if you haven't watched a lot of horror movies, there are spoilers in there for all those movies. And I just felt that I was getting a history lesson on the horror genre, movie genre, and book genre, and all of those things. But I just felt like the story fell so flat for me. I didn't really enjoy the character. She was very juvenile and hard to follow, and nothing happened until the very end of the book. So a lot of people have that issue with Stephen Graham Jones's writing. I can't speak today. That he does have that difficult way of getting his point across, kind of, and it's very slow building, and I definitely felt that way with this book. I really thought it was going to be good in the aspect like something suitable for me, and like in my opinion this is not by any means a bad book. It just didn't really, his writing just does not jive with me. I've also tried to read books in the past and I just can't get through them. This book is worth the read, but it just was a disappointment because it's just not what I thought it was going to be, and I felt myself like kind of falling into a slump while reading it, unfortunately. So I hope this doesn't like defer you from pre-ordering the book, because that's not what I'm trying to do here, but I just felt like it wasn't necessarily like the best as it's like being hyped up to be. Number 6, the biggest surprise, and that will be A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas for me, which is so way out of anything that I normally read, but I am just shocked at myself that I'm enjoying reading adult romance with fairies by Sarah J. Maas. I never thought I'd be reading this genre at all and enjoying it. So for me, this was the biggest surprise because I really love the ACOTAR series so much entirely, and I really enjoyed reading about Nesta. I know a lot of people didn't like reading about Nesta, but I could really relate to her, especially as an adult in my life now, because she reminds me of myself a lot. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that book, and here's to opening new doors of potential reading genres for me. Number 7 is favorite new author, and this is a favorite new author to me because I've never read any of his books before, and that's Josh Malerman. I have read Goblin, I read The House at the Bottom of the Lake, and I'm looking to pick up Bird Box next. I really enjoy his writing a lot, and I'm looking forward to more books from Josh Malerman. I never thought that I'd really like him that much, but I am, and I'm really impressed by his writing, so he's definitely a new favorite author to me right now. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really have like crushes on fictional characters, but I will say I just started watching The Boys on, what is it, Amazon Prime, and Chase Crawford's character, The Deep, he is hot. He's like a merman guy. He's not like the greatest guy. That show is very dark, by the way. It's about like dark superheroes. They do bad shit, and they like kill people. So, but he's part of the Seven, and he's just really freaking hot. And I always thought Chase Crawford was hot, but now that he's older, he's really freaking hot. So I'm into it. So check out The Boys if you're interested in a new TV show. It's pretty dark, it's pretty gruesome, it's pretty gory, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying it. Newest favorite character, and I'll have to say Lacey and her sister Amanda on this one because their chemistry was amazing, and I had so much fun reading about Lacey's sister Amanda. She was funny and really interesting character, and I felt like she kind of just brought things out in Lacey that were good, you know, needed for the story in a way, in a sense. So I really enjoyed reading about them. Number 10, a book that made you cry. I don't know, I don't really cry when I read books. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just insensitive. I don't really know, but books just don't make me cry like that. So I would say none yet this year. I mean, if you want to say like I was just really upset to the point where I wanted to cry about My Heart is a Chainsaw, and like the difficulty of getting through that book, then maybe I could say that book made me cry a little bit. But I wouldn't say that it like emotionally made me upset in a way where I would just cry. 11, book that made you happy, and I would have to say Goblin by Josh Malerman for that one. I really enjoyed that short story collection, and it was, well, not short stories, it was 6 novellas, a novel told in 6 novellas, which was really cool, really different. And I loved it so much. It was very nostalgic of my childhood, growing up reading Goosebumps and things like that. It just reminded me of that. Reminded me of the TV show Creepshow, where, you know, there's that build where things are like spooky and you don't know what's really going on, and like the ending of the story just kind of brings everything together, and it gets really creepy and gory and weird, and I just really loved it so much. So I definitely suggest picking that book up. And to go with the 12th question, I would say this is the most beautiful book. The 12th question is the most beautiful book you've bought this year, and that is Goblin, because look at this cover, guys. Is that not the coolest cover you've ever seen on a book? I mean, come on. It's so vintage, so vintage horror, like, and it just has really cool elements that go with the story. So I love this cover so much, and I will cherish it forever. I'm so happy I picked this up. Really, guys, I loved it so much. And I have my favorite bookmark in here because it kind of goes with the movie Trick or Treat. This is from A Stranger Dream, from the Patreon shop. I just love Sam from Trick or Treat. He is my boy. He's my little boy, and I love him so much. Number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? A lot. I have a lot of ARCs on my Kindle right now. They just keep sending them out. I don't know if you guys are experiencing this, but I feel like I'm getting everything that I want right now, which is great, but I need to keep up with it. So I have a lot of ARCs that I need to get to. I also want to read Christine by Stephen King. I'm trying to read like a Stephen King book, a thick one, every month for the rest of the year, because I just have so many that I want to read right now. I'd like to finish the Dark Tower series for the second half of the year, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. We will pray on that one. I want to get to more Agatha Christie books because I've been really into mysteries, and I just love her books a lot, and they're very nostalgic for me again. So I really want to get into some more Agatha Christie books. And then I also want to pick up From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I did start reading that book. I was like about halfway through and I stopped because I just felt like it was more of like a fall read. It was very dark and slow building, and I just needed to put it down for the summer, but I'm going to get back to it in the fall because I really was enjoying what I was reading, and I just love anything about vampires and the supernatural, so bring it on. Bring it on. And it has those elements of romance that I love from Sarah J. Maas's books as well. I would really love to get to Ghost Story by Peter Straub. So many people have recommended that book to me over the years, and I have it in my possession. I just haven't gotten to it yet. It seems very daunting. I know it is a very slow build kind of book, but everybody loves it that I know that has read it. So that is definitely like on my bucket list this year to get to. Hopefully this summer. I plan on reading it this summer. I love reading ghost stories in the summer for some reason. So hopefully in July or August I get to pick it up. That is it for my mid-year book freakout tag for you guys. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you plan on reading any of these books, and leave some of your summer recommendations down below. Anything about ghosts or the supernatural is what I'm feeling right now. But let me know also in the comments down below what you guys are anticipating for the year, and if you've done this tag, make sure you link it down below so I could check out your video. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure talking to you all today. If you like this video and you want to see more from me, please just like and subscribe down below. And on that note, I will be talking to all you guys soon. Bye!